We wrap up MacVoices Holiday Gift Guide number 2. This is MacVoices. Today's edition of MacVoices is supported by Truebill. Get control of your subscriptions at truebill.com/MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, this is part 2 of MacVoices Holiday Gift Guide number 2, and the pressure's on. Mike Schmitz, Mark Fuccio, and Jeff Gamet now have to do round 3 and 4 picks, and there's always the pressure to outdo the other guy just a little bit and maybe make their picks just a little bit better. So let's go back and let the panel make the picks. Jeff, what are you going to do for round 3?
I'm going to bring to you my most expensive pick, and it's still under $200. So I'm bringing you the Audioengine D1 DAC, digital to analog converter. It's $169, and I knew that I wanted to bring a DAC to my list. And I was actually torn between all the different DACs that I have, because clearly I have a problem. And I decided to go with this one because I think it's the most versatile at a really good price point. And so it gives you, it's a 24-bit DAC, and you plug it in USB. You don't need drivers, and it gives you 96 kilohertz. And if you have optical as an option out from your computer, then it goes up to 300. If I had it right in front of me, the notes, I'd be able to tell you.
Like 384, I think.
Yeah. So now the DAC that's built into your Mac, it will do 94 kilohertz. I believe, it's 94 kilohertz. So in that sense, you're looking at numbers where you can be saying, well, it's just the same. Why would I want this? And it's because the digital to analog converter system that's in the D1 is higher quality than what you have in your Mac. Plus, it gives you RCA out, so you can go right to speakers, and it also has a headphone jack on the front and volume control, and it's wonderfully versatile, and it sounds great. And I have one sitting on the floor right over there. So you can use it with your Mac. If you have a PC, you can use it with that. You can use it with an iPhone or an iPad, but they don't have enough power through their port to be able to power this. So you'd have to plug it into a powered USB hub first, and then go from the hub into your iPhone or iPad. And then this would take over for the DAC that's built into those devices and give you excellent audio quality, better than what you can get from your iPhone or iPad directly, which is saying something, because the DAC that's built to Apple devices is really nice.
So, okay, so you're saying this powers speakers directly. So this is not sort of like a preamp that you put into a power amp to drive your speakers. It has enough oomph to drive speakers directly?
If they're small speakers.
Okay.
So I have, when I use mine, I have it running to powered speakers, so the amp is in the speakers itself.
Okay.
And so if you plug this into a set of high-end speakers that really need power, it's not going to work because it doesn't have enough power for that.
Okay, got it.
And I will just second that. Just the purchase of any DAC of a decent quality makes a huge difference in your music coming, especially now that Apple's offering lossless. It's honestly staggering what the difference is. If you're into it, and really, if you're listening casually from 20 feet away while doing your laundry, it probably doesn't make it any difference. But if you really sit down and enjoy music, this is the way to go.
It's really nice. And like I said, of all the different DACs that I have, this is the one that I think is great as just the all around pick, simply because it has so many options just built right into it.
And because people learn by repetition, tell us the name, where you bought it, and price once again.
Of course. So this is the Audioengine D1 24-bit DAC. And I would recommend, instead of buying it from the Audioengine website, buy it off of Amazon, because Audioengine, they actually sell directly through Amazon as well. If you go to buy it on the Audioengine website, it lists out of stock. But when you bring it up on Amazon, it's typically in stock all the time. So, however you decide that that decision works is up to you. But you can get it almost anytime you want off of Amazon's website.
Cool.
And it's still coming straight from Audioengine.
Excellent picture. Mark Fuccio, this is round 3.
Round 3. Well, I have a quick one. I was thinking of talking about amazing software, and great software, but because of something Jeff said, I had my backup just in case. And the whole idea here is you get a port, or you get an adapter that USB, and many of them, if you get the right ones, you can plug a power supply into it. So then you can plug the USB-C connection into your into your iPad, as well as the Audioengine D1 DAC, and it can be powered by the power supply. You don't have to worry about sucking down the battery life of the finite battery life inside of your iPad. So this is I guess a lot of benefits of a lot of these USB-C devices is there's different generations of USB specs, but I think at a minimum they have to drive 60 or 65, and then maybe it's 96 watts, depending on the generation. So you get a hub, you get an external port, that gives you all the connectivity to all sorts of other devices, various USB-C, other USB devices, HDMI adapters, etc. But also it can power your device. So that's my idea. The one I mentioned was one I have from J5 Create. There are many other companies that have them. The key thing is as we're all moving to some of the new Macs that are all USB-C based, and we either have 2 or 4 ports. It's not a lot of ports. This is a way that you can connect and get all your relatively low bandwidth peripherals, like that Modi Rhoda podcaster mic, I think that Jeff is speaking into right now. It's a great way to get connectivity to all of your devices, and yet you can still get the benefit of using the new Apple M1 based Macs that all have USB-C ports. And with that, back to the Master Santa.
The Master Santa will add one comment on that. That Mark picked a good one because it has the cable connecting to it. And I bring this up every year because sooner or later somebody brings one of the little dock attachments up that offers some of these same ports, but they plug in flush against the side of your Mac. And what happens is if you use any kind of case on your MacBook or MacBook Pro, then the connections don't go in far enough and the thing is useless. So you have to peel that case that is intended to be there long term. You have to peel it off the bottom of your Mac to use it. Or if you get a Dremel, you can file it away if you want, but that's really not a great thing to do. Always get one with just a little short cable. It seems like you would want to go the other direction, but go ahead and do it just once, and you'll never buy one of those again. You'll always buy something with a short cable. So good, excellent pick, Mark. Excellent pick. Mike, pressure's on you for round 3. Are you staying iPad Mini?
Oh boy. Not necessarily. I am going to recommend a mechanical keyboard.
Ooh, okay. Tell us.
Oh, I don't want you to talk about this. Just stop. Please don't do this to me.
Well, the one I'm going to recommend is actually what I consider to be the best bargain out there for mechanical keyboards, and that is the Keychron Q1 custom mechanical keyboard. So Keychron has made mechanical keyboards that have been lower priced than a lot of the really crazy keyboards. You could get a good one for $80. MKBHD kind of made the Keychron K2 really popular. So that's maybe where people have heard the name before. But this Q1 is their first kind of premium keyboard. So the difference between this is that it is solid metal. It's significantly heavier than any of the other Keychron keyboards, and I've had several of them. This thing weighs at least twice as much as the one that I replaced it with. The other thing about this is that you can customize it using some open source software called Wier. So basically what that allows you to do is actually program like macros. If you're familiar with Keyboard Maestro, for example, you can program different things for key combinations. You can actually do that kind of stuff into the keyboard itself, which is kind of crazy and opens up a whole bunch of automation. So for example, there's different layers and you can press a key to roll over temporarily to a second layer, and then you could have a key that simulates a whole bunch of other key presses, but it doesn't use up that key on your keyboard because you can go back and forth between those layers with a modifier key. I'm not sure if that makes a whole ton of sense, but basically what it does is it gives you a whole bunch more options for automating things on your computer. In addition to being like a really significant keyboard with some premium quality materials, you can get like the brass backplate and all that. It comes with this premium USB-C cable. The price for this with some Gateron switches, which are decent. The brown switches are the ones that I started with, and then the keycaps, which you can definitely find better keycaps and better switches, but the ones that come with it are perfectly fine as a starting point. So you can buy that whole keyboard pre-assembled for $169. Now, the keyboard that is directly equivalent to this, that if you are in the mechanical keyboard world, you'll see people compare it to, is called the GMMK Pro. I just priced out the GMMK Pro. It has the exact same number of keys, a lot of the exact same materials. If you price out the GMMK Pro with what Keychron gives you, it is $357.93. And in my opinion, the Keychron is actually the better keyboard, which is why this is kind of crazy that this is the keyboard world's kind of freaking out about this, because it's a premium keyboard, but it's much more affordable than a lot of the stuff that's been out there previously. Yes, it's still expensive at $169. I'm not trying to say that that's not a ton of money for a keyboard, but you can actually spend quite a bit more than that and get significantly less.
I'm kind of in love with this. That the only thing for me that's a problem is that this one doesn't have a 10 key on it.
That is true, yeah. So they actually make a Keychron, like the lower level, the K8, I think, is the 10 keyless one, or 10 key one, and that's the one I had. So it's a larger footprint. If Keychron's past is any indication, they will probably come out with a whole bunch of different versions with these new materials, these new features, and things like that. So this isn't exactly what you want. Don't spend your money. But
it's this. Oh, yeah. I need a moment. Oh.
Yeah. Jeff's about to turn this into an X-rated show over a keyboard.
Oh. Did it
actually
get hot in here?
Mine's right here. Not sure if this is gonna come through real well, but there's like the backlight, RGB, and all the fancy stuff is here. And this thing is a beast. It is definitely much more solid than any of the other keyboards that I have had from Keychron, or really any other keyboard I've used. And it really just feels like a solid premium writing instrument. I've got the fancy switches and the fancy keycaps on it too, because this is how I pay for my shoes. And I absolutely love the feel of this keyboard. Now, I know this is famous last words and no one's going to believe me when I say this, but this is such a step up from the previous one that I don't anticipate ever buying another keyboard, even though I am in love with mechanical keyboards. And everybody says, you're going to end up with a bunch of them, rotate through them, just like you do with your pens. I don't want to do that. When it comes to typing, I don't want it to feel different every single time I sit down at the computer. And this keyboard is just so much nicer that I immediately, once I started using this, and I've had this now since September, I think is when they started shipping these. So a couple of months, no desire to look at anything else. If you are interested at all in the mechanical keyboard hobby, I feel like this is kind of the same route you can take with like Bluetooth headphones. You can buy the really cheap ones and those are going to suck. And then you buy a little bit nicer ones and those aren't quite there yet. So you buy a little bit nicer ones. Eventually you end up at the AirPods Pro or Max. Yeah. Or you could just buy those because they're the best and everybody says so and just trust us. You'll save money in the long run. That's what this is for the mechanical keyboards.
I always feel inadequate when you talk about pens and keyboards because I just don't have that fine appreciation of the differences, and I'm kind of jealous that of you that I don't. But maybe I'm glad I don't, because then I can just be satisfied with the beer and hot dog version that comes with the Mac and be done with. So
it'll save you a lot of money.
Yeah.
There is that.
So great. I know I hear some from other people like you, and I say this affectionately, Mike, snobs about keyboards, that Keychron just makes some amazing stuff, and maybe if I ever had a chance to put my hands on one, maybe it would convert me. I don't know, but for right now, maybe I'm just as happy staying away.
I mean, the mechanic, the Keychron stuff is kind of a gateway drug to the mechanical keyboards. But this one is weird because it's their first premium one. And in my opinion, they could charge twice as much for this and it would still be a bargain, but they just kind of positioned it a little bit higher than their other ones. So it's kind of this weird spot. I wouldn't be surprised if they raise the price in this in the future, but at $169, I feel like this is a ton of keyboard for your money.
Where did you buy it?
You have to get it from Keychron directly. I pre-ordered it, and the website at the moment says that it is sold out, but they restock them, it seems, fairly frequently. I don't know if there's a way to tell when they're getting more in stock. It looks like all they've got right now is the bare bones one. But based on the success of this one and all the rave reviews that it's been getting, I'm sure they are doing everything to mass produce a whole bunch more of these.
Yeah, and they have an option right there on the webpage, notify me when available. So you can spec out the one you want, and you get an email when that one is available.
Yep, exactly.
Which Jeff just did while Mike was talking.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't have the 10 key, I still want to know when it's available. I can't help myself.
All right. So does that bring it to me? Wow, for round 3 already. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go a little bit practical this time because I want you to be safe as you can be this holiday season, whether you're staying at home or traveling, or just, if your idea of traveling is going to the coffee shop. If you are going anywhere and you are not on your home Wi-Fi network, and maybe even if you are on your home Wi-Fi network, I think you need a VPN because things are getting more and more dangerous out there. We're hearing more and more about data breaches. In fact, I just logged into a site today and was told that my password was involved in a data breach. Thank you very much. So the VPNs are not going to protect you from that, but they are going to protect you from the man-in-the-middle attacks or somebody setting up a fake Wi-Fi network that looks completely legit but isn't. Now, there are a lot of great VPNs out there, and I use a couple of them, but the one I'm going to suggest for pretty much everyone is ExpressVPN. Because ExpressVPN, you have one account, you sign up for it, and then you can use it on multiple Macs. You can use it on multiple iOS devices. It is brain dead simple to use. It's basically you just turn it on or off, and that's it. I find that the performance hit from this VPN is negligible. If there's any, I barely even notice it. Maybe if I ran clock speed tests, I might, but I don't worry about speed tests. I want to know that it feels good. And I can't say that about all my VPNs. Yeah, they protect me, but if I'm uploading something large to, say, YouTube, maybe a MacVoices show, and I look up and it says it's going to take 7 hours to upload, I realize, oh, I'm on the wrong VPN, or I'm on a VPN that I shouldn't be, and change things over, and it uploads in 30 minutes. So there's a big difference in this. It also depends on what you want to do. I encourage anyone to go out and read ExpressVPN's privacy policy or the privacy policy of any VPN you use. Because at the end of the day, you got to trust somebody. And I would rather trust somebody that's in the security business and that I'm paying for. I will steer you clear, and maybe it's a wrong steer, but I will steer you clear of all those holiday deals you see that, get a lifetime VPN for $4. No.
Yeah. No, don't ever do those.
No, please don't do those. In fact, for $40, I still, I want to pay it month by month because I want the company to have a revenue stream because they need to continue to earn my business. And to do that, they have to remain secure. So I full disclosure here, ExpressVPN has sponsored the show in the past. They are not now, but I continue to be an ExpressVPN user simply because I really like them and trust them that much, and they deliver on what I need from a VPN.
So do they offer their own encrypted DNS services? So do you point to an ExpressVPN DNS server?
To tell you the truth, Mark, I don't know. That's a great question. Let's see if I can answer it real quick.
I think they do, Chuck.
Do they? Okay. Thanks, Jeff.
I'm not 100% certain, but I think they do.
Yeah. I'm not quite that paranoid. But the reason one of the big things that sold it for me, though, was that one account for all my devices and I'm set. One price for all my devices and I'm set. No bandwidth limitations. Doesn't matter how much I'm using or how many devices I'm using simultaneously. And that's where some of the others get you a little bit one way or another.
Oh, okay. So just go back. That's an important point. You can be doing it simultaneously. So you could be downloading something on your Mac while working on an iPad or working on another Mac.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, and that you're right. That is an important point. So yeah. So I again, ExpressVPN, go and check it out. I think you will be happy with it. So that takes
are there any legacy codes that you can share with people?
Let's see. I don't know if my old code works.
If they're smart, it does.
Yeah.
If they're smart, it does. I was just going to say, yeah, just thinking that too.
It looks like it does. Well, it would not be a code. It would be a URL, which would be expressvpn.com/MacVoices.
Okay.
And I will make sure. Yes, actually, according to this, and I'm going to take it off the website. And folks, I'll have a link in the show notes to this. But you get an extra 3 months free with a 12-month plan. Limited time offer for MacVoices listeners. So if that's still good, great. Go and get 3 extra months. And you all can figure out which plan you want. But
Okay.
yeah,
This may be a little bit of a rat hole, but do any of you guys watch that show Succession?
don't know that.
Not
Obviously
yet.
not. Okay. So it's really great. It's an HBO show, about sort of this old geriatric guy, 80 years old, passing on his empire. Can't decide to. He has a daughter and 3 sons. One son is completely out of it. The 2 other are fighting for it, and the daughter looks like she's the cleverest of the bunch. But at one point, they were talking about acquiring this other company, and they were worried about it. And he says, and they says, oh well, Mr. Roy, what's your favorite Shakespearean quote? And he said his favorite quote is from Shakespeare's "Take the effing money." So I'm thinking about in the context of ExpressVPN, if they're smart, keep the offer code up there and just take the effing money and let all the people come in. Don't turn it off after the sponsorship ends, because you're gonna get people pissed off, and you're not going to get customers. Take the effing money.
Wisdom from Mark Fuccio for the holidays.
Oh no, it's from no. I'm just channeling Logan Roy. It's a great show. You guys should all watch it. It's just it's fabulous.
Okay, thank you. That's one I did not even know about. Adding it to the list.
It's been out there for a couple of years. I've known about it, but just started watching about 6 weeks ago, and binge watched, and now it's our weekly drip, our weekly episode.
Yeah, well, it says it's been renewed for season 4, so it's doing something right. No question about that.
Yes.
Okay. Today's edition of Mac Voices is supported by Truebill. Get control of your subscriptions at truebill.com/MacVoices. $5 here, $10 there. Monthly subscriptions often feel like a great deal until you forget about them long after you've forgotten about them. Get your subscriptions under control with Truebill. Truebill helps you discover hidden, unwanted subscriptions and cancels them with just one click. Have you signed up for subscriptions that are impossible to cancel? Never pay for an unwanted subscription again with Truebill. Somehow, everything in our lives has turned into a subscription service. From TV channels to the gym to food delivery to your personal care products. These recurring charges add up without you even knowing it. Truebill helps you see all these subscriptions in one place, keep the ones you want, and cancel the ones you don't. Start canceling your unused subscriptions at truebill.com/MacVoices. Go right now, truebill.com/MacVoices. It could save you thousands a year. truebill.com/MacVoices. Thanks to Truebill for their support of Mac Voices. All right, guys, so that's 3 rounds. So now we're into round 4, and that means you have to make your final pick. Take your best shot. Jeff Gamet.
All right. So it's kind of funny that books have come up multiple times in this episode, and well, here comes another one. So the book that I'm bringing is wonderfully fun, just so much fun. It's Project Hail Mary from Andy Weir. So this is the guy that wrote The Martian, which I thought was just a wonderfully fun book. Really enjoyed it. And then his second book was called Artemis, which is good, but I don't think it's as good as The Martian. And now Hail Mary's been out for several months. And this book, I think, is better than The Martian. And the premise of the story, without giving any spoilers, is that our star, our sun, is dying, and it shouldn't be. And so we have to send an astronaut out to do this space investigation thing to try and save our star from dying so that we don't go extinct. And it is just absolutely awesome. And it was a really fun read. And And there were some places where something would happen in the story, and I'd immediately think, "Oh, this is going to come back later, and it's going to be a big problem." And of course it did. And I say that not like, oh, it's predictable, but like you could see ahead of time what he was missing. And they're just wonderful twists and turns. And every time you think you've got the story figured out, something happens and you realize, nope, I was totally going down the wrong path with where I thought this was headed. I think it's a fantastic book, and it's available on Amazon and as a Kindle book and the Apple iBook store, and I believe it's $14.99 everywhere.
Jeff, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, there we go. My lighting just went crazy for a second.
Yeah, I thought
Fixed
I saw something flash.
Yeah, one of my studio lights decided out of the blue to change its temperature and brightness.
Jeff, is this
technology?
From the way you described it, this is a serious science fiction book. It's not like a tongue-in-cheek parody.
Oh no, it's a serious science fiction book, like The Martian was.
Okay,
but you know how The Martian had a lot of lighthearted stuff in it because of the way the main character acted. There's that feel in it also. So it's like a serious, tense science fiction story, but it also is lighthearted enough that you don't end up being like completely emotionally drained and unable to function after each chapter. But what you end up with is being physically drained because you don't want to stop and you just have to keep reading.
Okay. Good. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed The Martian, but I have not looked into any of his other books. So
this, if you skip Artemis, which is sort of like a mystery thriller story, it was fine, but I don't think you're missing out on that much. But you definitely want to read Project Hail Mary.
Okay. One more book on my list to read.
You're welcome.
Yeah. If you don't cost me money, you cost me time, Jeff. Thank you.
I'm here for you, Chuck.
Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna make you buy a Keychron.
I know.
Yeah. Mark Fuccio, this is round 4, your final pick. What have you got?
Okay, so for this is something that's free.
Oh, don't drop the iPad, my God.
Okay, yeah. Can you all see this? So this is another podcast. This is something.
Hey, your screen's cracked. It cracked when you dropped it.
Oh, wow. That's probably not true, but anyway, Lex Fridman Podcast.
Yeah, that was not true. Sorry.
Yeah, and yes, and the next thing you need is my social security number and credit card in order to fix it, right?
Yes, don't forget the 3-digit code on the back of the card, please.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But anyway, it's something that's free, $0. It's distributed through iTunes, as probably other places where podcasts are available, if there are such things. Lex Fridman has done a lot of work in robotics. He's had this podcast out there for a hell of a long time. I just learned about it earlier this year, and he has fascinating discussions with people in all sorts of fields. Some of the recent podcasts, he was talking about somebody was talking about the sociology of truckers and what the implication of autonomous trucking vehicles will be. In an in-depth discussion of that. I had somebody talking about COVID-19 quick rapid tests and why those are important versus sort of the super high accuracy things people are doing today. He had Stephen Wolfram talking about his career and that was a really that was a very mind-blowing, mind-opening episode where he was talking about just sort of the nature of universe and physics, and that consciousness is is an outcome of how his theories of how the physical universe works. So he has judo people out there. He has politicians. Just very fascinating interviews. Lex, he has a little bit of a monotone voice, which maybe isn't for everybody. He has sponsors. He groups them all at the start of the episode, so you can fast forward them to the start of the show. But no one would ever do that now, would they? So if you're really interested in high quality discussions about interesting topics, or topics you wouldn't even think would be interesting, I would recommend giving it a try. The episodes are long; they're anywhere from like an hour and a half to to 3.5 hours. But the good news is, you don't have to listen to all of it. You can fast forward. You can just decide not to listen to the super long episodes. But for something that really high quality discussions, talking about topics in science and technology and society, is probably the best podcast I've discovered in the past couple of years. So it's free where your podcasts are distributed.
Excellent.
Back to you, Master Santa.
Did you say 3.5 hours, Mark?
One of them was like 3, maybe 3.25 hours. I'm just rounding up. So
wow, that's pretty hardcore.
That really is. I thought the hour and a half shows were hardcore, but that's intense.
It is, and some of them are fascinating, and it's worth just booting some of the lesser performing podcasts out of your routine in order, at least I found, in my opinion, in order to listen to them. So it's give it a try. It may not be for everybody, but I think he's huge. I think it has 1.5 million or 1.7 million subscribers. So obviously he's tapping into people who want good quality content, and not not people dropping the F word every other sentence.
Excellent. I was not aware of that. I will definitely have to go and check that out, because even at the 3.5 hour thing, if you've got a good interview, you're right. You want them to keep going and hear more. So excellent. Thank you. Mike Schmitz made it back for the fourth round. We had I guess he got too excited over his Keychron keyboard and just,
Totally understandable.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, what I really need is some reliable Wi-Fi routers to be recommended for this gift guide.
Changing my fourth round pick. What have you got to wrap us up, Mike?
All right. I'm going to do a combo, but I think it's going to be significantly less expensive than my last recommendation anyways. But these two things I feel go very, very well together. So the first part of this is the Elgato Stream Deck, which is a great tool for anybody who wants to dabble with automation on their Mac. I bought one when it came out because people were raving about it. Never thought I would actually use it, because that's something that people who stream like Twitch style use, and that's not me. However, I absolutely love this thing. They keep coming out with new things that it integrates with. I've got some Keylight Airs right here, which I can turn on and off with a button. I've even got a HomeKit enabled power strip back here for like these LED lights, which I can turn on and off from the Stream Deck. I can I've got a Philips Hue light at the top of the stairs, which I turn red when I'm recording, so kids don't just come down. My office is at the bottom of the stairs and make a bunch of noise. There's lots of useful ways that you can use this if you have any other sort of smart home devices. Now, here's the second part of this, which is really the kicker, I think. There is an app which allows you to control this sort of stuff from your Mac called HomeControl Menu for HomeKit. This app is $10, and basically what this allows you to do is create automations for anything inside of the Home app. So if you have the Home app on your Mac, you can go in and you can click the buttons and you can turn the lights on and off and things like that. You cannot automate any of that though. So this app actually creates these URLs which you can plug into the Stream Deck, which opens up a ton of other possibilities. So those two things specifically make the home stuff much more automatable, which is really, for me, the benefit of it when I'm sitting here at my Mac. I don't want to have to go into an app and tap a whole bunch of things. I want to combine all that stuff into like a button that I push on my Stream Deck, and with HomeControl Menu, you can do that.
So we have our first steal of the year because the Stream Deck was on my list too. So got me, Mike. Got me. Good steal. Yeah. And I like the way you said that you got this to sort of dabble in automation, because it's one of those things that, once you start to play with it, you start to understand a little bit more, and you start to see, okay, beyond just what I can do, what simple little thing, I can do the next step, and I can do the next step. So, if you buy the little, what is it, the little 6 key, it's a great way to get started, and pretty soon you'll be wanting to get the bigger ones.
Well, if you have something that is like an obvious workflow or an obvious automation that you want to create, if you just buy it and I wonder what this can do, you probably will sit there with a bunch of blank buttons for a really long time. That's what I did, which is why I recommend the app alongside it. Another app that goes well with it is Keyboard Maestro, because you can Keyboard Maestro integrates directly with the Stream Deck software. But really, like what this HomeControl Menu app does is it opens up all of the things, like all of your hue lights, anything that would show up in your Home app, you can now automate inside of the Stream Deck if you grab the URL.
Excellent. Jeff, are you using the Stream Deck for anything?
No, I'm not. And that's because for the longest time, I looked at the Stream Deck and thought, well, I'll buy it, and I don't know how I plan to use it. Therefore, it will sit unused. So I actually saved myself the money, but doing HomeKit automations, for some reason, I hadn't thought about doing that. So this show actually is probably really expensive for me.
Sorry, I need to give a hat tip, by the way, for this app to Jason Snell, who wrote about it for 6 Colors. When he wrote about it, that kind of got me thinking about different ways that I could use it with like the smart HomeKit enabled surge protector that my LED lights are hooked into and things like that. But I probably would not have stumbled on this myself. So if my use case isn't compelling, Jason's got some good examples in his 6 Colors post on it.
Mike, I think it's funny. For me, it's funny. You have one of your hue lights turn red when you're recording. I have a hue light in the hall outside this door that turns red when I'm recording. I have a whole shortcut routine set up that switches all the lights and stops my streaming music from the HomePods, and red light in the hall.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Sometimes I can hear the basement door open and then everybody go, "Shh, Dad's recording." Like, yes, that's a win.
That's definitely a win.
All right. Well, I'm going to take a special request from one of our panelists, and I'm going to do a reliable Wi-Fi router. So, Mike, get ready. I'm spending your money. This is another one of those categories where there's a lot happening and a lot of great things out there. But I'm still rocking the eero Wi-Fi routers, and I love them because it is and I'm not a router guy. I mean, if Dave Hamilton were here, he could tell you 25 different ways to configure your router. I want to plug my router in and have it be safe, secure, and good connectivity. And that's what eero does. One of the things I love about the fact that the way eero does it is, first of all, you manage your network from your iPhone, your iOS app. And I assume they have other apps for Android and all, but I'm always familiar with the iOS app. Second, it updates itself automatically. So it's never like you have an update, so you have to go shut down your router and, sacrifice the chicken under the full moon and then do the update. It just does it completely seamlessly. The only way you even know it is updated is if you go and check the app. You can manage a guest network. You can manage 2.5 versus the other megahertz or gigahertz networks, 5 gigahertz networks. It is just so simple and easy. If you want to geek around just a little bit, you can, but there's absolutely no need to unless you just want to. I plugged mine in, and now they have the new Eero 6 Wi-Fi routers up. The prices are really good. And the other beautiful thing is this is a mesh network, so that if you have a larger home or if you have a difficult to cover place, you can take one of those extenders and plug it into a wall socket somewhere close to where the problem area is, and the problem area just goes away. Or if you just have a very limited amount of space in your home, you can just buy the one router and that's it. So you're only paying for what you need. And if you pay for one thing and then buy a bigger house or have a larger area you need to cover, then you can buy the extender separately and just add them on and go. So it's expandable, it's affordable, and it's great performance, super easy to set up, super easy to use. And I think I got rid of it when Apple stopped making their routers. That's when I made the change, and I've never looked back. And I've recommended them to a number of friends, and I've never heard anybody come back and say anything but great things about it. So the Eero 6 routers. There you go.
I'm a huge eero fan too, and I like that. Instead of limiting their Matter support to just the Eero 6, when they roll out the software update, they're rolling it out for all the Eeros. So, that's awesome. And I love that you get little notifications if you want. So I know when a new device has joined my network, and I have the option of booting it immediately if I want. And I almost booted my Android or my Kindle Fire tablet the other day because it hadn't been on the network for a while, and it popped up, and I'm like, I don't know who this is. Oh, wait, it's me. And I love that if you need to add in some smart device that completely chokes when you try and set up with a 5G or 5 gigahertz network, you can temporarily disable the 5 gigahertz part, so it's just 2.4, and you just like tap a little button, and 15 minutes later, your 5 gigahertz turns back on. It's really well done. I'm a big Eero fan.
I actually have Eeros, but not the new ones. The issue I was having, I think, is ISP related, but I love the Eero app as well. I like the guest network feature. So when people come over, they don't all join your network. You can grant them temporary access to a guest network and control what they can get into.
Oh, darn. So I didn't cost
you I just say, just keep it short and sweet. Have Eero 5s, happy with them. Don't have much more to add to what Chuck and Jeff has said in detail.
Well, then that means we're all running Eeros and we're all happy with them. So that's a trifecta to end this MacVoices gift guide. Nice job, guys. I think everybody cost at least one other panelist money. I know I've been a victim, so I hope all the folks out there are too. The economy needs stimulated, folks. Go forth and gift. So let's go around the table, find out where these folks can be contacted if you want to talk to them about their picks, or maybe give them some of your own. Jeff, what's the best way to connect with you?
I'm so easy to find. I'm like, Google me. You can find me. But social media, Jay Gamet on Twitter and Instagram. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/Jay Gamet. Podcasts, Tuesdays, Mac Voices Live. Thursdays, The Big Show. Fridays, The Mac Show. And other shows. I do a lot. And I realized I probably shouldn't start buying all this stuff that I fell in love with from this episode, because we are coming up on the holiday season, and I should give other people the opportunity to buy me presents first.
That's very, very generous of you, Jeff.
I've got a big heart like that.
Yeah. Good to have you. Thanks so much.
It's always fun.
Mark Fuccio, where can folks talk to you about your picks?
Easiest way to find me is on Twitter at Mark Fuccio, MarkFuccio, or LinkedIn, Mark Fuccio.
Or you can find him hanging out in virology labs, taking notes. Thanks for being here, Mark.
I can send you some photos.
Gosh, I'm not sure I want them. Mike Schmitz, where can folks connect with you?
MikeSchmitz.com will get you to all my stuff. On Twitter, I am _Mike Schmitz, and the place that I write about Apple-related things is thesweetsetup.com.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mike.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, I hope you have a terrific holiday season. Thank you so much for doing this. It's always a pleasure every year. It's one of my favorite things, so I'm glad you were able to make it this year. Folks, I'm Chuck Joyner. This is Mac Voices. We will have more gift guide shows coming up. Just to reiterate what I said at the top of the show, you can find the links to all the gifts not only in the show notes of this episode, but we also will be publishing a master list on the Mac Voices website. And we are creating a Flipboard magazine of all the gifts as well. So we've got multiple ways for you to access them, browse through them, and help solve some of your holiday gift-giving issues. Until the next time, and as always, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with Mac Voices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices, or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.